Hello, friends. Let's begin with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, beloved Master, Paramhansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, dearest friend Swami Kriyananda, humbly we bow to you all. Help us to feel your guiding hand in everything that happens to us, that we may act in this world as your channels, bringing your light, your love, your joyous freedom into everything that we do. Om, peace. Amen. When the pandemic started, which was, just about 2 years ago, and the immediate thing that happened is I was put into a state of reasonable quarantine because my chronological age suddenly became relevant, which made me more of a vulnerable, potentially, to the virus. That in itself was a very hard thing for me to adjust to because I've spent my life being the one who isn't the front of the line, sort of help making it work for others, and I had to accept the fact that in this circumstance that wasn't going to be appropriate. And as a consequence, when so many external opportunities were taken away, and there was such a sense of emergency in the world, I started morning broadcasts, 9 to 9:30, Monday through Thursday, and I've kept them up. I thought it was like something we would do with this great fervor for a short period of time, but almost 2 years later, I've been very consistent with this, and I'm a person who likes to keep my word. So having committed myself to that with just a few exceptions when generally the needs of others interrupted it, I stopped a day or two in all of this time. And now, for those of you who watch my broadcasts in real time, I've been off air for about 3 weeks, and I'm going to be off air for at least one more week. So I'm here just to chat with you and give you an idea of where I've been and what's been happening. And some of you have been so kind to be concerned that I might be in trouble in some way, which I'm not. But this is just what's happening right now. I have a very small family. My parents have already passed. I have one younger sister and an older brother. We didn't really have contact with cousins or grandparents very much at all. It was really the 5 of us, and now we're down to 3. My older brother has always lived a very solitary, focused life in his own way. And even though we have a cordial relationship, our lives have not in the past interacted a great deal. At the same time, it's always been well understood that if he ever needed anything, I was there for him. And we are just the 3 of us, biologically speaking, so that's the group. My sister has a husband and a son, but both my brother and I are single without children. And what happened was, at the end of January, it happened. He became quite ill. He's a few years older than I, late 70s, and he just simply couldn't cope. And so he called me, and it was both my honor and my promise. And he lives about 2 hours from here, but it was not practical, so I basically brought him to my house. Although at first we thought he had COVID, and then so we had to go to like an undisclosed secure location somewhere else. So I couldn't even be at home, and I thought we were going to both get COVID, and it was quite an adventure. And I was away from all my normal support, although not that far away so people could still help. Gradually it evolved. He had pneumonia. He went into the hospital. He went into a nursing home, but he didn't have COVID, so we all came back to the house in which I live. All of this, as you can well imagine, has been very complicated and very time-consuming. Karma is wonderful. It's just like, it's always there, it's always waiting, and when the ripe moment comes, it just comes. And among the things that have happened in this wonderful period of time is that my brother and I have gotten to know each other much better. We've become much better friends. He's a very dear person, and it's like somehow the moment wasn't there for us to have a closer relationship, and Divine Mother has given that to us. But it remains somewhat medically complicated. He's not, I thought he might be dying, which did not happen at all. His health is returning, but some chronic conditions, not acute conditions, but chronic conditions have been uncovered, which are causing us taking a lot of time. Every issue keeps resolving. As it turns out, insurance is inadequate. The present insurance is inadequate, so there's money issues, and it's a divine adventure that never stops. And it's just so delightful in Divine Mother's way. There are, out of 52 weeks in the year, my calendar is pretty much under my control, except for 6 weeks of the year, in which I help with our school. This term in the school, they put on a big theater production, and for many years, I've done the costumes for that. I finally found the right words for it. It's my hobby. Children, theater, fabric, costumes. And so for 6 weeks, I just devote myself entirely to getting these 60 or 70 children outfitted for this production, and I help with the production. Of course, it's the same as now. So the karma of my relationship with my brother, whose name is Lee, by the way, with my relationship with Lee and my responsibility to the school, just all at the same time. There's a wonderful devotee of Krishna. Her name is Vanamali Devi. She's written a number of books now. She's an Indian woman. She lives in Rishikesh. And she's someone that I have been privileged to know. And she has this concept which she calls Krishna time, which is whenever God has given you more to do than you can handle, you turn the clocks to the wall, you take off your watch, nowadays I'd say you put your phone down, and you just assume that if God has given it to you, you'll have the opportunity to be able to do it. So as I've been negotiating these last few weeks, trying to take care of the school, taking care of my brother and all the different ramifications of that, I've just had to trust that we're on Krishna time, but maintaining the broadcast was the tipping point. And it's also important, and this has been wonderfully interesting karma for me, because I cope fairly well, and I can be, I joke about myself, I'm very good in other people's crises. I can move through and sort of help solve their problems. It's been really fun to watch my friends be very efficient in my crises. And I can sort of see, oh, this is how it works. But I also realize deeply that I have a limit. I just have a limit. And when I reach it, I have to be able to humbly and honestly just say, this is my limit. And so I've just canceled the broadcast. I've just had to let them go. Canceled my class on Light Bearer. Canceled my Patreon monthlies. I've just had to let it go. There's a point at which we can't do more than we can do. And I've been canceling them week by week, thinking it would straighten itself out, but we've got at least one more week to go before I can step back into it. And I know you understand. I mean, all of you who have been so kind in your prayers and in your reassurances, and I wanted you to know that I'm fine, and I'm learning a great deal. When I was bringing Lee back from where he lives near Sacramento, and I was having to go to this Airbnb that I'd never been to in a part of town that I didn't know, and just to make it 100% perfect, absolutely 100% perfect. I'm following the phone to an address I don't know. My phone suddenly loses GPS contact. I have no idea what to do. Fortunately, the other part was working. I called a friend who knows more about these things. We turned it on, we turned it off, we got the GPS. Just when we get the GPS back, the phone itself loses power because I'd been using it so much more than I usually use it. It had just run out of power. So I'm probably a quarter mile away from where I'm trying to get, but I can't get there because the phone has lost power. So I plug in the phone, I get it charged up enough that I finally get to apartment complex where we're staying, I get to the code door. First, I don't have the codes. Then I find the codes because somehow one of the emails was not sent to me. I can't work the code. And then I realize I don't have the number of the actual unit that we're in. I mean, just all of this, which I took very much to heart. You know, it was just like, and even at the same time that I'm able to say to myself that this is not really a problem. This is an inconvenience, but this is not a problem. There's a solution to all of it. It's really interesting to watch yourself. And I watch myself just want to be rescued rather than wanting to just face into what I had to do. I mean, the solution was right at hand. My friend Keshava had all the information, and he was literally on his way to the same location. So all I had to do was sit there and wait. You know, I wasn't suffering. I just had to wait. But this is what Divine Mother wants of us. She wants us to discover how strong we can be, how there's always a solution, and that if we don't lose connection and lose hope. When I look back on it, it seems like a trivial problem. And that's also what's so interesting. You look back on it, and it's not real anymore. It's just a memory. And you think, why was that more than I could do? But in the moment, you know, it pushes us to our limits. And then you get to say, do I trust God or do I not? And that's always where we are in every stage of what I've been through, to get the costumes ready, to thinking that my brother might be dying, to realize that he wasn't, and then what are we going to do about this? You know, every step of the way, Divine Mother has found us a way through it. So I sit this morning at the edge of the insurance and the money and the this, and I think, why would Divine Mother stop now? You know, having brought us this far, why would she stop now? When I spend the day up in the costume loft looking for the costumes for all these little children, and it's so important to them and so important to our school, I just go into Krishna time. It's like, and the play happens to be about Krishna, which makes it even sweeter. But if Divine Mother has brought this to me, then she must also have an inherent solution. And it's been really deepening for me on many levels, because in the position I'm in my life, many times people bring to me very challenging life situations. And I need to try to help them trust themselves and trust God. And a lot of times we reach our edge over being a single mom, you know, not having quite enough money, not quite having quite enough health, whatever it might be. And it doesn't matter what it looks like objectively. The only thing that matters is what it feels like to us. And God finds our edge. He just finds our edge, and he pushes us right to it. Master said somewhere, God doesn't test us in order to break us in any sense. God tests us to awaken within us the divine power of the universe, and to awaken us to the divine power within us. And if we aren't challenged, how would we ever know? And then once we know, we have to constantly remind ourselves until we can't ever forget. I was remembering once when Swami was going through I don't even remember, but we had financial problems. I think it was when we were under litigation. He had people, you know, criticizing and denigrating and blah, blah. And he went to the dentist. And Swamiji, when he was a child, his teeth were not well taken care of, and it came back to haunt him when he was older. So it was always an issue. He went to the dentist, and as it turned out, he didn't have any cavities. And we were just chatting, and he said, you know, then how was the dentist? Well, I don't need any more work. My teeth are fine. And I gave what is an American phrase, well, thank the Lord for little favors. And it's kind of a little sarcastic, and it's a little also appreciative, just like thank the Lord for little favors. Swami became, and whenever you would transgress in any serious way with Swami, he would never let you get away with it. He would handle it gracefully, but he would never let you affirm a wrong attitude, and he would never let you affirm for him a wrong attitude. And so I said, thank the Lord for little favors, because you don't have any cavities. We are being sued, and all these other things are happening. And he just looked at me like this. I mean, it's emblazoned in my consciousness. I thank Divine Mother for everything. Wow. That's really something, isn't it? Not merely I accept, not merely I grit my teeth and go forward. I thank Divine Mother for everything. What could be happening to us that's outside the will of God? What could be happening to us that is not sent by our loving Mother for our own best future, for our own best welfare? I mean, I can ask that question. I don't always answer it in a way that I'm pleased with, but I can always come back to that question. That's what these wonderful weeks have been for me, where I've had to break my word and drop my responsibilities, which I never do lightly. And I just wanted to speak to you this much, because it'll probably be another week or two before we're back in regular contact. I had one more thought. Let me, just for a moment, I had it there. I want to say it. I remember. Within the Ananda spiritual family, personal challenges and personal crises are absolutely wonderful for this reason. The global devotee network all starts praying for you. So you're in the midst of trying to just hold it together, find solutions, persevere, just do everything. And so that's sort of the strain and I have to, stiffen my spine. And you're flooded with love and prayers, and you just feel it like you're swimming in this ocean of these angels who are just pouring light into you. So what is good karma? What is bad karma? What is hard? What is easy? This is what God is trying to show us. I thank the Lord. I thank Divine Mother for everything. Divine Mother gives us exactly what we need in order to give us what we really want, which is to be free. So, my friends, God bless you.